you might got twanged in it by the owners, because that's like you saying to your babes, "Yo, we're going Hakkasan and that." You know them ones. And
Any fan that got twanged, you either listen to
because if you
BS
say
and
to
you
your
laugh
babes, "Yo, babes,
thinking,
we're going Hackers and that," you know them ones, get all dressed up, and then there's no space, there's no reservations, and then you take her to
start looking in the
Wagamamas
bank account.
instead.
It's looking the
You know
bank
them
account's
ones.
not
Is
strong as
oh,
you
we'll go
thought. Yeah.
Wagamamas instead and that. It's like they're not on the same price range. It's like, was we really going out? Because I got dressed up. You know what I mean? And then we end up in Waggers, bro. With what Arsenal have done, yeah, it's like in the moment it looks good, yeah, but you know what hindsight's like. You know them ones. If they don't win something this season and say they finish below second where they finished before, all of a sudden you get into a situation where, like, I got into with United, where 2 trophies in 2 seasons and a top 3. It sounds good. And then when you go back and you look at,
strip it down.
and then you strip it down at how we won those trophies, who we played,
Yeah, but you know what they're
how
gonna
shit
say,
everyone else was. When you go back, yeah, you go back and you look at the whole Arteta tenure, and then when you strip it down and then you look at what everyone else was doing, the opportunities you had to strengthen that you didn't take, the
Facts.
players that you brought in that weren't good enough, then you
But,
then had to
but this is
replace
the
with other
thing.
players. Then
This
you
is
look
what
at
you're
it
right
all
about,
and it
Rants.
looks like a mess. Do you know
This
what I
is what
mean?
you're right. This is what you're right about, Rants, and that's why I think it's a mixed bag. Mikel Arteta for getting the club back in order, steadying the ship, all of that stuff, brave decisions. I hear it, making us somewhat competitive, like with the top 6. Big you up for that. That is great. Getting over the line's another thing, and you know what it is, Rants. They will sit there and you know when, and I'm sure you get it because you make the same line of work here. You know when people say enough things enough times, they rationalize it because Arsenal fans are gonna come out and say, "Oh my God, we had so many injuries." Okay, we had injuries. Everybody had injuries. Last season, we still had injuries, but we was relatively injury free. I know it's easy for me to say as someone that's not making
You had a
decisions.
great run last season in terms of
Exactly.
injuries.
No, but Rants, honestly, if you see last season and you think, bloody hell, we had I know Partey was out, Timber was out, Tomiyasu was out, but bloody hell, we got all right. Bearing in mind, as I said, January the 1st, 2024, Mikel Arteta said we've got one of the smallest squads. In the last week of 2024, he also said that nothing's changed. Surely you go into the summer and say, do you know what? There's an element of us making things harder for ourselves. If Saka gets injured, if Odegaard gets injured, if we, this, that, and the third, these things need to be addressed. I genuinely think the club sat there and said, we don't really need a striker. We'll try, but we don't need one because Kai Havertz done his thing for the half of the season. These are the questions that need to be answered. And this is the naivety. This is what I mean by we're standing in the rain and complaining we're getting wet. These are the issues. So for me, Mikel Arteta, big up yourself for the rebuild. But the last 3 years, really, I would say 2, because the first title challenge wasn't expected. These last 2 years, and including this year, if my maths is off, the gloves are off. It's just about getting over the line now. I appreciate what you've done, but it's over the line because you say it yourself. You come out and said, all them statistics are nice. We haven't won. We all saw, for Arsenal fans, what the comments were after Everton. We hear what the players say. And reality is, we can forget all of that. All we want to do is win trophies. Every fan, you're a United fan, I'm an Arsenal fan. Everyone just wants to win trophies. That's all that's remembered. I do think the younger fans get a bit too excited and, just want to be part of the journey. It's about trophies because none of these players, the manager, myself, 10, 20 years from now, I don't know about anyone else, but I'm not going to sit there and go, oh my God, what a race that was in 2023, 24. It's silliness. Like when you sit here and say, oh, there's no players that can improve us. We tried. It sounds good and whatnot, but it doesn't make sense. And I say it all the time. I'm not saying Arsenal. Yeah, bro. I'm not saying Arsenal should buy players for the sake of it, bro. But are we Real Madrid? Are we a prime city? Because then if we was them teams and you say, oh, raw, they got David Silva, they got this, that, and the other. I hear it.
We can't improve on these players. Cool.
Exactly.
I hear that. That was
That don't
City's
make no
argument
sense
before.
to me, bro.
That was City's argument for not buying. They were like, we're gonna buy, but only if it's the right person. It's like there's so much to improve in this Arsenal squad. Like, even look at these players: Willock, Smith Rowe, Nelson, and Xhaka. Yeah, the players that you brought in on your bench. Yeah. Brother, you're not looking at Arsenal bench and saying you've got better players than these men on your bench.
Got better defenders, but the vast majority of those are attacking players. We don't have better collective.
You don't
depth
have better
options.
attackers. You don't
This
have
is where
better
Arteta shot himself in the foot, man. Well, do you know what? To be fair, Trossard's better than all of them attackers, if I'm honest.
But the thing is, he's one player, and Trossard's only better on paper, bro. Like,
it's that last name, bro. It's the last name that is the one that hasn't been thingied. It's that last name, granted.
And it's not just his footballing ability. You lost his leadership qualities as well. So you lost multiple things, in that player, bro. So it's one of them things where there's a real danger of man looking back in hindsight and saying, well, actually, this has been a bit of a mess.
The last 2-3 years.
But this is why I believe you need the trophy, just to kind of draw the line under that chat. Do you know what I'm saying? Because he just signed a new deal.
You say that, Rants, and I agree with you. You're not wrong. At the end of the day, we need silverware. He needs some sort of silverware. But unless it's the Prem, which is improbable, or the Champs, which is impossible, the goalposts, you know how football fans are. The goalposts are going to move. If Arteta wins nothing, you failed again. If you win the League Cup, which again, it's easier said than done, you only won a League Cup. But it's about silverware now. More forget Arteta for a sec. The players, bro. Yeah, we can talk about Saliba and Saka and all of these guys cutting. It can't be nice to always be so close but so far. And a lot of them are quote unquote young in their careers. You need to pick up trophies. I know where people look at the League Cup as fans. We do this snooty thing. It's not the Prem, it's not the Champs. There's no guarantee, as you know yourself, Rants, there's no guarantees with professional footballer for any silverware, matter of fact. So anytime you can get your hands on it, I'm on that. And I would say Liverpool, I'm definitely certain for City. How many times were they picking up League Cups in addition to all the other things they were doing? You know, you can never. Who doesn't want a day out at Wembley? Who doesn't want to win silverware? It creates that mentality. It's something to buy into.
100%.
A lot of these
winning is a habit. It's a culture.
Exactly.
And also losing is a culture. Do you know what I'm saying? And it becomes a habit, bro. When you're losing title races that you should be winning, and then going out and buying a fucking dog and going again, yeah, like that's the culture that man's building, bro. Like
I don't know about the title race. I just watch game to game, but I hear it.
Brother, like 2 second place finishes, a dog called win, yeah.
So we got a dog,
brother, and I don't know if, because Arsenal fans would have to let me know, the Mudryk here and the Caicedo window were 2 different windows, weren't they? Where you had the sagas.
I think they might have been the same, you know.
Because surely you wouldn't have had enough money to sign them both in the same window.
I actually think it was. I think it was the same, you know.
Was it the same window?
I could be capping, but I think it was the same, you know.
But
and you could throw, but you could, you know, who another name you could throw in? You could throw in Vlahovic a few years beyond that as well, because they're all in January. That's why I don't believe when man say we ain't got money, bro. Like when
these are big money windows, bro. Like to miss out on
Caicedo, mind games, bro.
And Caicedo would have cost 100 and something million.
Yeah, we're trying to chat to gal that you know don't want to chat to you, but bro, yeah.
But the thing is, if you're looking at a Mudryk, that means you understood that money needed to be spent on a winger. So when you didn't get him, who was the guy that you went after that? Where's the winger?
That same thingy, Trossard.
Exactly. And how much did Trossard cost?
Like 20, something like
nothing.
That.
You know, like that. So you was gonna drop a 70 million on this Donny, and you never thought that you might need 70 million worth of winger somewhere else, bro.
No, but this is and Rants, to piggyback pause off your point.
Man, this is do the cheap thing.
But that's what annoys me about Arsenal fans, because Arsenal is like this, especially with transfers. It's a merry-go-round, right? First we hear war chest and we're gonna do this, and in last summer's case, Nico Williams, this one, that one. Then you come out and they say we got PSR, there was no players available, blah blah blah. The window shuts. It is what it is. What have you seen come out this week? The only restrictions are the ones that Arsenal are going to place on themselves. Whether obviously journalists can be dumb in it, but we're linked with this one, that one. And then when the inevitable thing happens, it's always wait till the summer. Now, granted, I hear the logic with waiting till the summer. I think every logical fan gets that. But the season's now, bro. Like, this could be what is won or lost now. Like, you need to deal with what's in front of you now, fam. And this is the thing. It's a merry-go-round, bro. It's a journey without a destination. I'll be real.
No, but you know what it is, It just feels like you might got twanged in it by the owners, because that's like you saying to your babes, yo, we're going Hakkasan and that. You know,
any fan that got twanged, you either listen to BS.
You say to your babes, yo, babes, we're going hackers and that. You know them ones, get all dressed up, and then there's no space, there's no reservations, and then you take her to
start looking in the bank account. It's looking at the bank
account. It's like, we'll go Wagamamas instead, and that. It's like they're not on the same price range. It's like, was we really going out? Because I got dressed up, you know what I mean? And then we end up in waggers, bro. You know what I'm saying? Nah, bro, this is crazy.
But that's the thing. I question the strategy a lot of the time at Arsenal. I really do question the strategy with what we're doing in terms of
75, 80 million. We've got 80 million for a winger, then spend 28.
That's like, the thing. Arsenal are weird, man. Like it's like, I'm not saying you don't have to be 100% convinced, but it feels like there's a regular theme, whether Mudryk's the guy or not. It's like they have to 100% be convinced that that's the guy. Like it's people move like, and then you know, if you look at Arsenal, we're linked with like 5 players. Then it becomes someone like Mudryk, and it's just aggression for the next 2-3 weeks. We're all linked with him. When he doesn't sign, people sit there and go, "Oh my God, there's no one else." Come on now. I think people are very naive. Now, I'm not saying Arsenal are right or wrong, but anyone that understands football, These lot have all the analytics, they have all the scouts, they're looking at household names, players of various denominations. For me, there's no excuse. There's no excuse. And I must admit, for me, it's a bit boring talking about the same things: the strikers, the wingers, the lack of depth,
because
everything.
It's been 3-4 years, man, are still having this conversation. That it's been most of the tenure of this.
For me, it's really in the last. It's in the last 2 years where we've actually started fighting for a title. Like, we're saying the same things. Like I said at the start, the 18-19 games we played this season, any issues that Arsenal have had on and off the field, no Arsenal fan discovered that this year. And if you did, you're living under a rock and you're just doing this emotional thing. You're riding the highs when we win. You're upset when we lose. This is why, for me, I love my club, but it's an emotionally, you have to love it from a distance.
The freedom that Arteta has had, and the control that he's had to the point where Edu's left, brother, you man have been having the same conversations pretty much most of his tenure, bro. Most of his tenure, bro. When you deep it, like, the midfield still hasn't been addressed. The left wing hasn't been addressed because Martinelli was there under Emery. So the left wing hasn't been addressed, really. Do you know what I mean? You brought in a brother from Brighton, and he was never meant to be
well spent, man.
No, but he was never meant to be a starter for you, and he hasn't really been a starter for you since you brought him in. So you brought him in just to
impact, or as Arteta says.
Yeah. So you didn't bring him in to displace Martinelli. So the left wing hadn't been sorted. The striking situation hadn't been sorted because Havertz was brought in as a midfielder. Do you see what I'm saying? So you haven't dealt with.
And fans tried to kill me for Gabriel Jesus. I love Gabriel Jesus, but fans tried to kill me because I said it's a mighty Ducks thing. 2, for Gabriel Jesus, it's going to be the exact same thing as Lacazette. I love the premise of the logic in general of, you give him a platform to play through the middle, he can do his thing. And he was a good quality player for us until he got the mad injury. But he's never been a good goal scorer. And at some point, you have to accept footballers for what they are and utilize them. And then obviously, I think too many things happen too fast for Arsenal. I think we started getting into this title conversation quicker than those that make the decisions with the light. And then you look at Gabriel Jesus and Zinchenko, they were, they did change us. There were 2 first names on the team sheet, but it became evidently clear that we've left you lot, didn't upgrade on that. And now you're here, really. And I think it's naive. Of course, it's easy for me to sit here and say, but as you said, and I agree, Kai Havertz, we failed upwards with you going up front. You looked a lot more rosier, right? But if you're genuinely sitting there in the summer and saying we don't need a striker, we've got Kai Havertz, which some of our fans were saying, I personally think that's suicidal. And this is why, for me, it's an emotionally kind of check out thing, because it's naivety if you think that we're going to get over the line. Of course, across a 38-game period, there are some romantic moments, but football is cold-hearted, man. Like, these guys were never the right guys. And that's something we've been doing, even down to when we had Giroud, who was a quality player. I liked him, but you're taking a facilitator and trying to make him a man that's going to get 20 league goals. And you're surprised we're having these conversations, man.